Online students, am I audible, students? Am I audible to everybody? Okay. Now it's a time to see to move to the further. And today, completely no students are available in the class because heavy rain is outside and everybody is in online only. If any online friends are there, if any offline friends are there who are in the online already, we put a message in the Google Drive. You send the message to the friends who are there so that they can attend the sessions. So sound is coming very slow. Yes, mom. Farhana is fine. So let us start the discussion. Shall we move to the further? So is it clear for everybody now? Is my voice is coming slow or it's comfortable? Is it comfortable for everybody? Okay. So let's move to the further. Okay, students. Let me enter into the further. Last class, we already started with the most important area, threads we started, threads we started. As a part of the threading, if I'll go for the index, I said last class, process-based application, thread-based applications, how they are going to be process-based, how they are going to be thread-based, what are the properties of process-based, what are the meaning of the thread-based, and I already explained it. I gave some explanation for you people. And today's session, I'm going to discuss about completely about the module. So module name required for development of thread-based applications. This part I am going to explain. So students, which is very easy, try to understand carefully, students. Now I'm going to start about this concept here. Carefully try to follow, students, all of you. So here I'm going to enter. So let us carry on the things carefully. Students, module name required for developing thread-based applications. Module name required for developing thread-based applications. What is the module name required for developing thread-based applications? Threading. Threading is the module name. So the module name for thread-based applications is threading. The module name, students, there are 7-8 students are coming. Just wait for 2 minutes. Wait for 2 minutes. There are 7-8 students came and they are waiting outside. Just hold on for a few minutes. Wait for 2 minutes. So I will take them into class and we'll go for it. So far nobody came and 6-7 people came. We'll allow them into the class. So you can follow that. So now start with already classes started, students. So I thought that nobody came for rain. I started for online. Now you came and look at this. This is a topic I started. Module name for developing module name required for developing thread-based applications. Required for developing thread-based applications. So online students, now coming to the point of it, the module name required for developing thread-based applications is threading. So threading is the module name. So once you know module name, you know what is the meaning of module and everything. So module is a collection of global variables, function names, and class names. So the threading module contains the following details. So what are those details? I am going to write it. So there I am going to talk about what are the module name is available, what are the things available inside of it. Here I will write carefully. Module name is threading. Inside of this module, we are having functions. Here. Functions in the threading module. Carefully listen, because already we have seen so many modules here. Functions we will see. And next we will see functions in threading module. And then I will go forward. Module name is threading. As a part of the threading, we have the functions here. What are the functions? We'll write it. At the same time, we will go for class name also available. What is the class name I am going to discuss? The class name is something like this. Here the class name I am going to talk. Class name 1 I am going to talk. And I am going to take it class name 2. Class name 2 I am going to take it. Class name 2. Here I am writing functions here. What are the functions which are available? What are the function names which are available? First function is available current underscore thread. That is the function number 1. Second function is available active underscore count. These are the two functions which are present under functions of threading module. So what is the current thread will do? I will explain what is the significance of that. And then I will go for active count. So yesterday's awareness you carry, and then I will move to the further. Current thread purpose is, I am writing, this function is used for obtaining name of the thread which is executing in Python program. So how we can use it? Syntax I am going to write it. Syntax is threading dot. It is a module now. Threading dot. Name of the function is current underscore thread. It returns name of the thread. That is a variable name. I will write it. So let us go for showing this function how it works. Let us go to this place. New. I'm going to give you the example as what? Program for finding or program for demonstrating current thread function, current underscore thread function. So import threading. This is not a new for you, module level, and I'm going to write it. Threading dot underscore current underscore thread. This will give you the thread which is by default running in the Python program. That returns one variable I am taking, t. I'm printing the t. I'm just printing t. This t will print two things here. One is called what? Name of the thread. That is called, already I said to you, main thread in the last class. Example concept you need to carry. Main thread and number will come. Thread ID also will come. Thread ID. Start thread. Some ID will be coming. Some ID will come. That ID I will take it. Thread name I will get it. Some ID also I will get it. Some ID also I will get it. Let us run this now. So there I am going to write it. I'll write it under that current thread example.py. Current thread example.py. Save this now. Go to this place. Under that I'm writing current thread example.py. I'm going to take up. Execute that. Go to the place. Here I'm writing CMD. There I'm going to write it. So here I'm going to take up E colon AVR and Python. Say here 6 p.m. Say here threads. Threads. Here I'm writing threads I am taking. Try to run this. Py. I said already. Current thread will give you thread plus its ID will come. ID will come. So just look into that. This is going to give you main thread. There's a complete one information is coming. This is a thread name. This is called what? Thread ID will come. This ID is not a fixed one. It is going to differ from one program to running to another program. But this remains fixed. From this place to get this name, there is one attribute you are supposed to use. There is one attribute you are supposed to use. That attribute is like A is equal to 2 plus 3j. It is an object. To get that imaginary and real parts, we need to use A dot real, A dot imag. These two things you need to apply. So that 2.0 will come and 3.0 will come. Similar manner, to get this only main thread, I need to apply what? This T dot name, I need to write it. T dot name, I am just writing it. See that it will print only main thread. So here I will print it. Default thread information. Default thread information. I'm writing here comma T and print of default thread name. Default thread name. I'm writing here. Default thread name. Thread name is equal to T dot name I am writing. You can also write thread name I am writing, complete thread name I am writing, main thread I am writing. In shortcut process, if you want, you can use like this also. How did this? Print of default thread name you are writing is equal to comma. You will, in place of T, I can write threading dot current thread. Threading dot current thread dot name you can say. Dot name you can say. So you are getting main thread. So whenever you want to get the thread name, get it and apply the attribute called name. So this is about what is the function name? Current thread. Online students, I hope it is more clear. Understood, students? Now, coming to active count. Active count I am going to do. Online students, respond. So if you don't respond, I don't know whether you are catching me or not. Active count I need to go for. The name itself says to find the number of threads which are running. So there I am writing this function is used for running, used for obtaining number of active threads. Number of active threads present in the Python program. This will be obtained as syntax I am writing. What are the syntax? Variable name is equal to thread dot. I am writing here threading dot active underscore count. Let us apply the example. Similarly, I will take up this because these are all very simple students. Here I am writing others. Say here Python here, write it. Program for demonstrating finding number of active threads. By using which function? Active underscore count. How do you find active thread? Here I am writing active count thread example dot py. So as usual, if you want, you can write this, or simply if you want, simply you're out of it, write simply number of threads in Python program. Number of threads in Python program is equal to, I will write it threading dot, I will write it active underscore count. Active underscore count will give you how many? 1. Last class concept part I completed. Concept part I completed. 1 will present. So say that py and you have seen 1. What is its name? Main thread. If you want to print the active thread name, print of name of active thread, name of active thread is equal to comma threading dot dot current underscore thread of dot what? Name. I just wrote like this. So here I am writing like this. Name of active thread is equal to main thread. Number of threads in Python is equal to 1. So active thread name, number of threads in Python is equal to 1. We got the answer. This is about active current thread example dot py. So this is about two functions which are present and corresponding examples also done. Clear up? Online students? Now we'll move to this is very simple. Functions in threading module. Functions in threading module. Now I'm going to take it. Class name 1 in threading module. This is an important. Class name 1 in threading module. Class name 2 in threading module. This threading module. What is the class name 1 in threading module? Is thread class. Thread class. And class name 2 in threading module is a lock class. This is lock class. This is in tomorrow I will tell you. Today I will talk about thread class. So under that, first one I am going to talk about thread of target. Don't take much time because it is easy for you. Args. This is number 1. Number 2 is called start. Number 3 is called what you know? Get name. Number 3 is called, number 4 is called set name. Number 5 is called what you know? Is underscore alive. Number 6 is called join. These are the functions present in which class? Thread class. That I will give you the explanation for you one by one. Under lock class, we have two functions. That is a deadlock concept I will explain. Acquire function, and the second one is called what? You know, release function. Release. This is a release function. Acquire function, and next is called what? Release function. Class name 1 in threading module, thread class. Class name 2 in threading module, a lock class. Acquire and release. So let us start with thread. So what is the use of thread? Come on, quick. Come on, faster. What is the use of thread? Last class. Notes is there? Notes is not there. So I only has to open the notes. What is the use of thread? What is the use of thread? ఎందుకు మీరు క్లాస్కి వస్తారు చదవలేదు. Flow of control. Is it a thread? What is the use of thread? I am asking. Use of thread is not flow of control. What is the definition I am asking? Definition you are saying. All wrong answers. Ajay, go. The purpose of thread is to perform an operation whose logic written in the form of functions. Here I written. Definition of thread, flow of control. I did not ask this. This I asked. What is the use of thread? To perform an operation whose logic developed in functions. These functions are methods. If it is a functional programming, I will write function. If it is a object oriented programming, I will write a method. So use of thread is to perform an operation concurrently. This is the point you need to tell. So to create a thread, I need to have a function. How do you create a thread? By using this kind of first constructor. This is called a constructor. Already you know what is a constructor. I need to tell you that. See how much disturbance is there. If you remember the topic, it's very nice. What is that now? You say T1 is equal to test of A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. It is called parameterized constructor. I'll open it, go to the place, oops here, go to oops here, under that constructors, under that program number, default and parameterized constructor. Default and parameterized constructor. Here you see test of A10, B20. This is called parameterized constructors. These are all called something like that. Here also we are having class name and then this also similar. How it is the syntax? Syntax I am talking. Syntax. Because every time forgetting and coming means problem. Subthread is equal to, subthread name is equal to threading dot thread of. I set target is a keyword argument here. Like A is equal to B is equal to like. Target is equal to function name. Function or method name. Method name. Comma. You are creating a subthread for executing the operation whose logic written in the function or method name. That you have to mention as a part of target argument. So the thread object will do what? This constructor will do what? Creating an object plus your subthread is targeted to execute this function. Like yesterday's class, if you come back, thread C here, go to the subthread flow. I set this is my function welcome. That thread I am creating. T1 is equal to threading dot thread of. Target is equal to your function name. T2 is equal to threading dot thread of. Target is equal to hello. T3 is equal to thread of what? Hi. T1, T2, T3 are called what? Subthreads. So I'll write it here. What is the use of that? And I'll write args is equal to, it is in the form of tuple, you need to mention value 1, comma, value 2, value 1, value 2, val 1, comma, val 2, val 2, so on, val n. This depends on whether it takes parameters or not. So I'll close this now. What is the use of this constructor? This constructor, why it is called a constructor? Class name is thread and a constructor also thread, like this. Class test of constructor. Oops concept here. So threading dot thread of. This constructor is creating an object of thread called subthread and initialized with what? Target function, initialized with a target function where it contains logic which is to be executed by what? Which is to be executed by subthread. And args represents the values. Args represents the values to be carried to the target function by the subthread. I'll show the example for you. Let us in detail you try to understand. Go to the place subthread execution with the timing yesterday. If you look at squares is taking a parameter, cubes taking a parameter, T1 is equal to threading dot thread target is equal to squares. You are mentioning that which type of values to be taken, args is equal to LST. That LST is called what? Value 1, value 2. Since I am passing single value, you need to write comma. And this you know in the beginning days only, value comma says what? Tuple. That part I am mentioning. In earlier one, what I did not write, only welcome I wrote it. What I did not write, args I did not write. Why I did not write args? Because no parameter it is taking. So if it is taking parameter, you must write args in the form of tuple. If it is not taking any parameter, we should not write in the form of what? Tuple. So here, this is meant for creating a subthread. Any subthread you want to create, you have to go for it. It is creating an object of subthread and initialized with a target function where it contains a logic which is to be executed by subthread. Args represents the values to be carried to the target function by the subthread, provided in the bracket I will write it, provided the function takes what? Params. Takes params. I hope you are understanding this. Example, already you are having this type of thing here. I think you are understanding. I need not to write the same code once again. Subthread execution, this you take it. Subthread flow, here, welcome, hello, hi. This is a message you are passing. Hello, you are passing. Suppose you want to print hello, one message you want to print. Well, I said well. If you want to print, I say, comma, I will write it. Comma, I'll write that name also to be printed. I can say what now? This is the one I'm going to take up. Dot format of, I can say dot format of value, comma, threading dot current thread of written, and you pass, for hi you pass the value, comma, what can I write it here? Args is equal to, and I'll write it what? Row sum, comma I need to write, because it is saying what here? Simple value, string, and if I write comma, it is a tuple, and close the bracket of the beginning. You try to execute once again this part. Go to this now, subthread execution, go to the place. Here you need to be careful enough. Run this code. Here, enter into this place. Go to this now. Here, already it is there now. So already you are here. So go to this place, py, execute it. See that line number 4, hi Rosam, executed by. The thread name is not printed, I hope so. Executed by, you say the opening bracket. You see that it is executed by dr. So some names I set by myself. So this part is called what? It may take parameter, it may not be taking parameter. So I hope that this is clear. Understood? How to create the subthread? We got it. Online students are able to follow, students. Is it clear for everybody? Right, done. Now I'm going to say start. Once a subthread is created, once subthreads are created, line number 17, line number 19, line number 23. Once subthreads are created, suppose if you don't write start, if you don't write this start, for example, I'll just clear it. You try to run this code, subthread flow, no output will be coming. It's a main program only executing. No more other 4 lines are not executing. Are you following this? So once you create a thread, you must write what? You must write what here? Come on. You must write what? Start you need to do. What is the use of start? To dispatch the created thread to the target function. That is the meaning of what? Start. So let us execute and see the result of it, because this is the very easiest task. So started, main thread is dispatching the subthreads. So start function is for what purpose? So syntax I will write it. What is the syntax here? Subthread dot start. What is the use? This function is used for dispatching the subthreads, to the target function, dispatching the subthreads to the target function. So which is specified in the thread creation. Without start function, we cannot go for dispatching it. And you have seen the example here, start. You have seen the previous example also with the timing part also, start, you have seen it. So who will dispatch the subthreads? Which function? So thread creation, start, both of them are going to be very important, hot for the threading. Now I will go for set name, which is a very easy, nothing is difficult here. Look at that. I'll go for set name and get name. Observe the set name and get name. Go to this place. Take this example itself. Now I'm going to write it. Entering into this place. Just to take one small thing only. This you try to clear off. All these things you clear off. One is enough. So go to the place. This is welcome function only. Program for demonstrating. Setting the thread. Set and get the thread names. There I will write set get thread names example.py. Welcome. Let us go to the line number 5. Go to the place. Here I will close. I'll close. Line number 9. Program execution started. Thread.name. There I am writing next point. I'm writing. There I am going to write it. How do you create? T1 is equal to I am writing threading dot thread of what I am writing, target is equal to what is my function name? Welcome. Easy. And no more parameter available. I don't write anything. Close. What is T1 here? I'll write it. Here T1 is object name and whose name is and called what? Subthread. I'll write it here. Here the default name to the subthread is thread-1. Yesterday I shown you and today I am discussing in detail. How do you print that only thread is created? It doesn't mean that it is printing thread 1. Set and get executed, because you did not dispatch the thread also here. So program execution started. You created a subthread, but you did not dispatch. How do you dispatch this now? Come on. T1 dot what? Start. T1 dot start you say. Then when you say T1 dot start, it is going to print thread-1. This is the default name. Sir, how do you set by yourself? Now I'm going to use it. To set the thread name, we use it. And this name you got it. And one more thing, you got it start. That is okay. Leave that. To get the name of the thread in main program, thread name, subthread name is equal to T1 dot get name of. In T1, what is the name? Thread1. Dot what you are writing? Get name of. Which will print what here? Thread name, thread1 will print. This will not print directly. As on today, get name is deprecated. Do you know the meaning of deprecation? Deprecation meaning is this is changed. In software industry, this word is a common. Deprecation means what? This name was changed to what? New name. Instead of complicated statement, they said simply new version is given. So they said one attribute name they gave. But attribute name is just a name, just a name. How do you write it? Instead of t1 dot get name, simply you write what? t1 dot name. You say t1 dot name so that it will print. Let me show you that deprecation warning for you. Let me save it now. Let us save it and print it. Execute. What I got it? Read out. Deprecation warning. Get name is what? Deprecated. Get the name attribute instead. Get the name attribute instead of using what? Get name. You use which attribute? Answer is coming, but this is a disturbance message or not? To avoid that, I will say this is not recommended. This is what? Not recommended. Not recommended to use. Not recommended to use. Instead of that, you use same thing. Go to the place. Here I am writing. Here I am writing this data. How do you write it? T1 dot simply name. C1 dot simply name. Execute it. See that. Got it. Main thread. What is the thread one? I did not get any deprecation message here. Are you getting it? This is known as what? In main program, subthread name is called T1 dot name. Here name is called new attribute given instead of which one? Get name. Next, I want to set my own name. How do you write it? T1 dot set name. I am saying set name. I am writing RS. Set name is the instance method in thread class. T1 dot set name. This is also deprecated again. Set name also deprecated. On which name? They are saying don't write this. Write as what? T1 dot name as RS. Like I wrote in the beginning. Here I wrote it. T1 dot name is equal to RS. T1 dot name is equal to like that. These are all modern approaches. T1 dot set name RS. Output will come RS only. But this will give you deprecation warning message will come. Run this now. Execute. PY. See that now. Got it. Again. Deprecation warning. Set name is deprecated. Set the name attribute instead. T1 dot set name of RS. T1 dot name of RS. In main program subthread is what? RS. We got RS. We don't want. We don't want. I will go for what? T1 dot set name of RS. We don't want to go for it. So I'll write it what? Not recommended to use. Not recommended to use. Here I am writing. Not recommended to use. So how do you use it? T1 dot. Come on. Name is equal to RS. Now you see, this is called setting the name to the subthread. Setting the name to the subthread. Execute it. So got it. Thread name beginning, thread name like this. You say after that start, you say T1 dot start. After that you say T1 dot start, you say. When I say T1 dot start, in this place also what is printed? RS only will print. Execute it. So what is that? So welcome function also printed RS. Beginning, what is that? Thread 1. What this is known as? RS. Are you able to follow? This is known as what? How to get the default thread name by using T1 dot get name. Not recommended. You say T1 dot name. You want to assign some name. T1 dot name is equal to RS. In main program, subthread name is T1 dot get name, again getting. This is called setting the name to the thread, getting the name from the thread. So T1 dot set name as well as get name. So here I am writing simple syntax. I am writing. What is this now? Subthread dot subthread object subthread obj dot get name. So there I am writing. This function is used for obtaining name of the thread. This function is deprecated. deprecated in the bracket, changed to a new, changed to an attribute, attribute called what? Name. What is the new syntax? Here I am writing new syntax. New syntax I am saying subthread object dot, simply you say what? Name. That's all. This is the get name usage. Not recommended to use, recommended to use. So new syntax I wrote, old syntax I wrote it, old syntax. Which is recommended to use? New syntax. Similarly, set opposite. Similarly, opposite. I'm writing old syntax. What is the old syntax? Muddu come on. Subthread obj dot set name of str data. Thread name is always str data. This function is used for setting a name to the thread, to the subthread. Syntax is that this function is deprecated an attribute called what? Name. There I am going to write it. What is the new syntax? New syntax I am writing is equal to what data? str data. That's all. Example already have seen. T1 dot name is equal to str data. Earlier also, previously also, you have done it here. And subthread flow. If you want, you can set it. I hope I closed it. Subthread flow. So if I open it, here you return T1 dot name is equal to T3 dot name is equal to. So you set the name to the thread. So it is a deprecated, and this is a new one. You need to. These are just used to print it. This is just used to set the data. So I hope that it is clear. Setting and getting. Next, I want to decide, is it live or not? What is meant by live? Live. Suppose a student who is responding in the class, they are live. The students who are not responding, they are not live. The students who are responding in the chat window, they are live. Those who are not responding, their status is false. Similarly, as long as the thread is running, that is known as what? Live. When the thread completed the execution, it is called false. So I'm writing syntax. What is that? Subthread obj dot is underscore alive. I'm writing this function is used for checking the execution status of subthreads. Execution status of what? Subthreads. This function returns true provided thread is under execution. Subthread is under execution. This function returns false. The thread is not in execution. Not false returns is not under execution. Important. Is not under the execution. Let me show you the example. Look at students. Go to this place. Where is it? Go to subthread flow. This I want to show you. Where is it? This you take it. Subthread flow you take it. Best example this is. I will take up the status here. Take like this. Separate example I want to show you. Not taking this much big example. Small example I will take up. Here I am writing only squares you take it. This you take up. So I'm writing showing the execution status of the thread. Execution status of threads. Execution status of subthreads. Subthreads. Import threading. Import what? Threading and time. Why this is giving like that? Anything missing? Execution status of subthread execution. Import, threading, comma what? Time. So this you try to take up. Squares, LST taken. You take this list data. You try to remove this. Later I will take care. Program execution started with. Now I am printing. Ready. Print of execution status of T1 before start. So before start. So here I am going to write it. Execution status of before start. Yes. So here, so coming to the point of it, line number 3, I wrote comma only, my dear student. So threading. So threading, no problem. Let us verify, not to worry about it. Execution status of T1 before start function is equal to comma T1 dot is alive. T1 dot is alive. Execution status of T1 comma T1 dot is alive. Is underscore alive. I just wrote it. Is underscore alive. Just to try to see is alive example dot py. Try to go to the place. Here I am going to write it. Threads. This is enter into some other logic code. It is entered. Not a problem. You will be getting it. Not an issue. You will be getting. I saved on .py. I started Ruby kind of code I started. That's why it is giving like that. No problem. You are getting it. So let us start. Not a part to worry. Execution status of T1 before start. I did not start. What is the answer printed? False. Why? I just created but not started. You have to understand. So go to the place. Here you see PY. See this answer. What is the answer now? T1. What is the T1 here? T1 dot, comma, this is, comma. You see that, execute it. What is the answer now? False. I just created, but not started. Now you say T1 dot start. T1 dot start. Here I am writing. Once it is started, what will happen? The thread will go for executing this logic. Execution status of T1 after start. T1 dot is alive. Printed true. See, execute. See that. Execution status of T1 before start false. Execution status of T1 after start true. It is printing all the values. So this process is under the execution. I will write it. Here I will write it. Print of what? Number of active threads. Number of active threads after start is equal to T1 dot active underscore count. Active underscore count. After underscore count. This is called what? Here I wrote it. Number of active threads before start. T1 dot active underscore count. Ramakrishna, 10. What is the 10? Are you there in the class? So active count 10 unnai ikkada. So my dear student, very dangerous candidates. So T1 dot alive is called false. It is called 1 only. By default 1. Here it is going to be called 2. Two threads are there. And they are counting these values, I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, my dear students. It is very dangerous. That's why I'm thinking I want to declare my retirement in the subject. So T1 dot active underscore count is 2. So Understood. Okay, sir. So like that. So now I will go to what? Execute. Still I did not start it. I started before start one only. After starting, two threads are there in my program. Execute. Come to the point back. Here you say dot is count. So active underscore count. T1 dot no. Threading dot. Module name called what? Threading dot. THREADN. Because I already said active underscore count is present into threading module, but not in thread class. So be careful about it. Run this one. Here also I need to write threading dot. Threading dot I need to write. So I'll write it like this. Threading dot. Execute it. Coming back to this place. Done. So what is an answer? Active threads before start 1. Number of active threads after start is 2. 1 and 2. We got the data like this. So this is 1 and number of active threads after start is 2. Then after completion, how many threads again? How many? 1. After completion, how many? 1 only. But T1 was collected by whom? Garbage collector. So how do you do that? So is alive, I said. So here if you look at is alive returns true, provided the thread is under execution. Returns false, thread is not under execution. When the thread is not under execution, before start, not under execution. After completion, not under execution. Before my class, you are false. After my class, you are false. Under the class, true. So after the execution, thing is what? It is called what? It is going to be known as what? Now it is printed true. Now I want to print false. How do you print false? How do you print false? So I'm going to use it. This is about isAlive function you understood. Next function is join function. I will explain. My next continuity is join function, showing the importance of join function. So join function example dot py. Join function example dot py. So here I just remove this. This is not necessary. Beginning time and all these things not necessary because I'm not measuring the time here. So keep it. So here I'm going to take it. Let us start. Execution is alive count is 1. Start here is alive count is called what is here? It is a false. After start is called a true. Threading dot active underscore count is called a 2. Then line number 20. Who is waiting? See, print of program execution completed. Program execution completed. Just I'm writing. Who is completed? I'm writing this part. Program execution completed. This is the statements written in the program. Who will execute this main program statements? Main thread. Main program statements executed by main thread. But I already explained. Here you see the concept. Main thread initiated by PVM and executes, main thread executes main program statements and monitor the execution status of subthreads. So based on that, we are going to use it. So when the main thread started the execution, when you come to this place, when it is under the discussion, when it is coming to this, when you say start, the subthread is dispatched to that and start says what? The start says what here? It will go to that place and then next what is happening? It will come to 18th line. Who is going to come? Main thread will come to this 18th line, 19th line, 20th line. So this is parallelly running. The subthread also parallelly running. So generally students will think what? When you say start, main thread will be there at 18th line only until that is completed. No, main thread will do its own job. It will execute its own job and this will do what? Its own job. So that means still the subthread is executing, main thread will finish its task. Execute this now and see this now. Join I did not use so far. Go to the place, go to this line here, save it, go to the place. Now I'm going to say py. See this now. Here main program execution completed. Main is completed, still subthread is executing. This is not a correct output. Generally, main program execution completed after all subthreads are over. So when you go for, when your parents are taking you to the shopping, when your parent is taking to the shopping of to your brother or sister here, taking, one person went to one shop, another person went to another shop. Your parent is supposed to wait until they join with the parent. So parent is called what here? Main thread. These are called subthread 1, subthread 2. Subthread 1, subthread 2 is under execution. They are supposed to join with the main thread. So go to the place. Here I am writing. When you want to go for this, after the start, you have to say there, make the subthreads to join. Make the subthreads to join with the main thread after completion of execution. After completion of execution, how do you do that? You have to write it subthread dot what? Join. Once you write line number 20, the main thread will be eagerly waiting at the line number 20 until who will come and join? Subthread. Subthread will join after completion of it. That time your main thread will be there at line number 20 only. Observe it. Number of active thread after start. It is going to print what? This line I will write it. This line I will write it here. This line I will write it there. 2. Number of threads after completion or after joining I will write. After join. When they join? After completion of execution. It will be containing what? 1 only. There's a complete flow to understand the threading. So here, see students, 1, 2, main thread not saying program execution completed. After this entire thing is completed, then you are getting. See that now, number of active threads after join 1 only and program execution completed by main thread. This happens because of what? Join. That is what I said yesterday. T1 dot join, T2 dot join, T3 dot join. Subthreads will be joined with the main thread. Then last only we can find the thread name which is completed. I hope you are understanding. So online students, I hope you are following me. So join also covered here. So syntax is what? Subthread obj1 dot join, subthread obj1 dot join. Next I will write it. Subthread obj2 dot join, subthread obj2 dot join, 2 dot join. Next is called a dot 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 n dot join. So here I am writing subthread n dot join, n dot join. And there I am writing this function is used for making the subthreads to join, making the subthreads to join with, making the subthreads to join with which thread? Main thread. After completion of what? After completion of subthread execution. Subthread execution. I hope that it is more clear. So this is join function. It is not necessary to use join all the times. If whenever you need, you can use the join function. This is related to what? Thread related class. And this class called what? This I will explain tomorrow, not in today, because I want to tell you some more examples on this part. So right now, don't expect tomorrow class when I come back to what? Deadlock occurrence time. If I tell, there is a meaning for it. Right now, today I am not talking about this part. I am not talking. Only up to here only I want to talk. Clear? Fine. So open your notebook. Open your notebook. All of you. Write down. Write a Python program. Write a Python program. Write a Python program which will generate which will generate which will generate 1 to n numbers. 1 to n numbers after each and every second by using threads. Don't think that threads is very difficult. Threads is very easy by using threads. So let us go for threading now. Look at on the screen now. I'll go for the logic. What is the logic? Very simple. So I'm going to write it. Look at on the board. Program for generating list of values, generating values from 1 to n minus 1 values by using threads. Now I'm writing here I'm writing number generation example1.py, and that too I want to tell you one small concept also. What is that? Here I'm writing, you know already, number of approaches to develop what? Thread-based application. Number of approaches to develop thread-based application. Number of approaches to develop thread-based application. How do you go for it? There I am taking number of approaches to develop thread-based application. There are two. We have two types of applications over there. To develop thread-based applications, there are two. By using functional programming, by using object-oriented programming. There I am writing. In multi-threading or in Python I can write. In Python programming, whatever we have written, I am just writing. We have two approaches. To develop thread-based applications. Two approaches to develop thread-based applications. They are, number one, by using functional programming, by using object-oriented programming. First one I am going to talk about it, functional programming. Next one is by using object-oriented programming. Functional programming. First one, by using functional programming. Second one I am writing by using object-oriented programming. How to do it, both of them I will show you. Simple and very easy also. Whatever example I written now, this one, whatever it is, you take it. This one you take it. See, this is functional programming. Function is defined, thread is created. So first task here also you see, function is defined, thread is created. The first thing you see, import what? Step number 1. What is the step number 1? Import threading and threading module and other modules if required. That is the first one. Step number 2. Define a function which contains logic, which is executed by whom? Which is executed by subthread. Step number 2. Step number 3. See here only. This is called threading module. Define a function which contains thread logic executed by subthread. Next step is what? Create a subthread. create a subthread. Easy. Create a subthread. Create what? Subthread. It can be more than one also. More than one also. By specifying, by specifying what? Target function. By specifying what? Target function. Next, step number 4. Step number 4. What is that? Create a subthread by specifying target function. Step number 4. What is that? Dispatch. Dispatch the subthreads. Dispatch the subthreads by using which function? Start function. By using which function? Start function. That's all. You see, same. Module imported, function defined, subthread created, started. That's all. Go to the logic. First step, import threading time, DEF number generate or something like a generate. Take it as what? N. Take it as N. There I will write it. If N less than or equal to 0, I'll write it. Print of what? Thread name I will print. And I will write it what? Is what input? Invalid input. Is invalid input. Dot format of what? Threading dot current underscore thread dot what? Name, comma what? N. N. So this thread underscore name is given to this, and this is going to contain this N. Done. Else part I am writing. Else part I am writing. What should I do in else part? I want to generate the numbers. So how do you generate the numbers? Print of what? I'm writing like this of 50, writing numbers within. Numbers within. I'm writing this dot format of what? Threading dot numbers within N I'm writing. There I'm seeing this value. There I'm writing this value. There I will write it. For value in range of 1 comma n plus 1. Same. Logics are same. Print of what? I'm writing. Value of I. You want to print value of I. Thread you want to print? You can print it. Value. Value. I can write it. Value. Colon. I'll write it. Value. Colon. I'll write it. Dot format of this I will write it. This I will write it. Here I am writing like this. Close. And I'll write here time dot sleep of 1 second. Done. At the end of it, I'll carry this. I'll carry this. Done. Let us, this is only like this. It cannot execute by itself. Save this code. It cannot execute by itself. Go to this place. Py. See that no output. I decided to go for what? With the threading. Main program. With the threading. Create subthread directly. T1 is equal to threading dot thread of target is equal to my function name generate comma args is equal to 10 comma you need to write it tuple T1 dot what? Start. That's all. Execute. See the answer now. See this answer now. So numbers within 10. Of course, it is printing that number 10, 10, 10 is printing. But I need to write what? Val I need to write. Val. Range now. Only 10 is printed that many times. Wrong output. Now run. It is going to print the data like this. Are you following? Range of values are printed. So coming to this is the answer is coming. So this is an output is printed. This is after 1 second. You can mention what? 0.5 also. 0.5, which is little faster little faster it will come. Because in 1 second, 2 numbers will come. If you want to still more faster, 0.25. And in 1 second, 4 numbers will come. See that little faster than the previous. That is lesser the time, more faster the execution is. So if you want any dynamism to provide, you can n is equal to int of input of what is this now? Enter how many numbers you want to generate. You can take this, execute, right here n, execute py, say minus 34, invalid input. You say the value called 20, 20 is going to come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like that, this is coming. Understood that? When you say 7, 7 numbers will be coming like this. Like this. Clear or not clear? Clear. So, this is the one you said. So, I hope this you are following, I think so. Understood? Huh? This is by using what? Step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, step number 4. I want to go for one more. With the functional programming, this is generating this example with a functional approach. Next, with object-oriented approach, I am taking object-oriented approach. Object-oriented approach means what will come? Class. Same. Generate number example. Generate with a oops example. I want to go for it. With a oops example 1, I want to go for it. There I will write it immediately. Class numbers. Inside of that, this function is there, na? I will press this. What I will write it? Self, I will write it. And I hope yourself knows about oops. If you don't know oops, you close your eyes and I'll complete that. Later you open your eyes. Better. Now go to enter. How many numbers you want? Generate is called what? An instance method present in which class? Numbers. So generate, if you write like that, error will come. Look at that. Save this code. You cannot execute because generate is not a open function like previous. Generate is not a open function. It is one of the instance method in the class. You run that, you see the error, py, see that, enter something like 5. Generate is not defined. It is not there. It is an instance method. What to do? I will create no is equal to what? Numbers of. What is numbers of? What is no? Object of that. You will write what? No dot. No dot you will write. Object dot. It is our responsibility to write no dot. Object creation of my class. Done. Same. Everything is same. So output, say 10. Output is coming like this. Understood? This same thing you can write in another way. Oops means you must be so powerful. I can write the same thing by using like this. What? You can write it through constructor. You can write it constructor. How do you do that? Def underscore init underscore of self comma n. You can write it. There I am writing self dot n is equal to n. That time I don't write n. Here I will write self dot n that time. Self dot n. Here I will write self dot n. Self dot n. Here also I will write self dot n. Here also I will write self dot n. Here also I will write. Go to that. This arcs I don't write that time. Arcs I don't write. This n I will write here. N I am writing here. This is called object creation with a parameterized constructor. This is object creation. This is object creation. Makes the constructor calls what? Constructor. The two parameterized constructor calls parameterized constructor. Beautiful. Let's start. Oops, example 2.py. 2.py. Execute. See, py, 2 dot. Enter the data 20. Values are coming like this. Done. This is by using what? Constructor. Still, I wrote here first line, second line, third line, 4 lines. I'll write in single line. మీకు అర్థమవుతాయి now. You don't know? Be happy with this. If you want, I'll write it. I'll write in single line if you catch me. Next line. If you are already understood this example you understood. That is not an issue now. This is not an issue now. Now I'm going to take it. This n is there now. I will write directly this statement. This statement directly I will write in the place. That this I will not write it. I'll minimize my variable. I hope you are following me. 3.py. Here, see the changes what I am doing now. See the changes what I am doing now. See this. Go to the place. Here I am writing. Save. Execute it. Py. 3.py. 15. I am taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that 15 is coming. If you want, still you are more perfect student. In place of NO, I will write this entire line. This I will not write at all. Execute. Py. 3. Enter the number of values, 30. Values are coming like this. And these are all called what? Maintaining good hairstyle. Once your hair is so long, you can maintain good hairstyle. Once you know subject, long hairstyle. If no hairstyle, no subject, ring road, bypass road, like India map. That is a fashion. Not physical hairstyle is not good. Subject is a fashion. So, online students, now this is 4 lines got single line. Now I'll write it. This also in place of start. In place of T1, this entire line I will carry. I'll put it in the place of like this. Dot start. I'll remove this entire line. So here, like this, I said 18, like this we got it. That's all. If you are able to, if you are a clever, you can understand. No sir, manakenduku sir ivanni asalu, manakenduku ivanni. If you want, you can go like that, one by one, like a 1947. Still 1902, if you want, go like this. 1902 ante your grandfather, this one. If you want to go for 1947, like this. If you want to go for what? 2020, you go for like that constructor, separate. You want to go for a modern student with a full subject to show yourself you are a master in Python, like this. A normal student cannot understand what is the meaning of this. Will they understand? No. 100% they don't know. So, online students. So I don't know, your master or junior master, I don't know. So I hope you understood this point. Clear? Online students, clear? Is it clear? Now I'll move to the further. You execute, you say -6, it is called invalid input. That okay now? So this is about one more. This is about the data. Can I give some homework for you? Right now. Write a Python program. Write a Python program which will accept which will accept list of values, list of 1 minute, which will accept a line of text, which will accept a line of text, which will accept a line of text and split into words, split into words and display those words and display those words, display those words after each and every second, after each and every second, and also display letters of those words, letters of those words, letters of those words, letters of those words after each and every second, letters of those words after each and every second, letters of those words after each and every second, letters of those words after each and every second. So using functional programming, using object oriented programming, you have to do it. Okay, now next, multiple threads I want to create, multiple threads, so that you can do homework. Using functional you do, using object oriented. Object oriented, how do you create it? Same. See that step number 1 is required. Step number 2. What is the step number 2? Tell me. Step number 2. Come on. Define. Define what? Define a programmer defined class. Define programmer defined class and define a programmer defined class. Step number 3. What is that? Define a method. Define a method. Define a method inside of which class? Programmer defined class. Define a method inside of which contains logic of a thread executed by thread. So I think define a method inside of programmer defined class which contains logic which is executed by subthread. Step number 4. Step number 4. Create what? Subthreads. Create subthreads. Subthreads created or not? Creating subthread. Defining class. We defined a method. We created subthread. And we are starting as usual. But remember that you have to call with respect to what? Object name. That you must be careful enough. So here I will write it. Where is it? Define. And dispatch the subthreads by using step number 5. This is step number 5. Dispatch the subthreads by using which function? Start the function. So this is about number of approaches to develop what? Thread-based applications. Very, very important. Shall we go for further? Write a thread-based application. Write a thread-based application which will generate even numbers separately, odd numbers separately, which will generate even numbers and odd numbers separately. Even numbers and odd numbers separately. Even numbers and odd numbers separately. By using threads. By using threads. That means here we are using how many threads? 2 threads we are using. 2 threads we are using. Look at that. We will use functional programming as well as object-oriented programming. Program for creating 2 subthreads for generating odd and even numbers within the range, within the range. So I'm going to take up. There I will take it. What is this now? I will write something like multiple, or I can write even, or I can write odd, even threads, example 1.py. TE of, come on, odd of what? N. N I am writing. If n less than or equal to 0, I will write it invalid input. I will write it invalid input. Invalid input. This is the one. Else, what I will write it? Print for I'll write it for value in range of, what is that? 1 comma n plus 1. Correct? N plus 1. Print of what? I'll write it the thread name and writing, what is this? Odd number. Odd number. Writing here. Dot format of what? I'll take up this data. This data. I'll write it. Here I wrote it. Format of what? Like this. So I hope that it is clear. Thread name printing, value I am printing. Time dot sleep of 1 second to see your output clearly. This is about thread name and the number is printed. This is one function. Next is called here, not just here I will write it. 2 I will write it. What is that 2? Step 2. So next I will go to even thread I will create. One more function I am writing. Even I am writing. There I am writing. Same. Here I will write it 2. Starting from 2. 2 plus 2 is called step I am writing. What is this is printed? Even number I am printing. Main program I will come. Main program I will come. What is this now? I'll go forward. Creating 2 threads I will create. T1 is equal to threading dot. Here I am writing thread of target is equal to, what is this now? Odd. Odd I will write it. Comma. Arcs is equal to 10 I will write it. 10. T2 is equal to writing here. Even I will write it. Even I will write it. Of 10 I will write it. 2 threads created. I need to dispatch or not? T1 dot, what is this now? Start. T2 dot start. And don't expect that they are coming one after the 2 like that. Even thread will go on displaying even, odd thread will go on displaying odd. Don't think that they are coming in the order. Parallel processing will be done in both the sides. Execute that, see that, go to this place. This is by using what approach? Functional. Functional example 1.py. This is a functional example. Save that. This is the one. Execute. Py. See this now. Threading is not imported. Import threading here, comma, time. It indicates, see that thread 1, thread 2, thread 1, thread 2 is going on coming. This indicates 2 threads will have 2 separate paths. This you can do it by using what? OOPS also. By using object-oriented programming also you can do. How you can do? By using OOPS. OOPS example 1.py. If you want, you can write even, odd. In one class itself, you can write all of them. Or if you want, you can write in multiple classes also. Here I am writing self dot. Here I am writing self dot. Self comma. You can do. But here you need to write what? Even order. How do you write it? Here I will simply say what? Simply I will write it. Already you understood that. Dot I will write it. This is called a nameless object. This also I will write a nameless object dot. Will you understand? Even order dot order, even order. Nameless object we can call. So here, so coming to the point of it, execute it. Out of that, execute py, enter that, data here. So coming to this data, I think you are following me. By using whoops, don't think that the order will maintain. There is no need to worry about the order. Each thread is executing that or not, that is an important. You can write the same thing in two different classes also. You can write it in two different places. Here, once you know the subject well, you can do. This is called what, odd class is separate. This I will write separate. Here I am writing class, even I am writing. Even I am writing, this is a even class separate. This is a odd class separate. Here I am writing odd off. Here I am writing even off. So execute it, odd even, save this code, done. Execute this now, py, you say this is done. Same output is going to come. If you want, you can change the number also here. You can read the data dynamically also. This indicates one thread, one function, another thread, another function. This is about how to create multiple threads. So tomorrow class, now time is 7:43. Tomorrow class, when I come back, I'll talk about deadlocks concept I'll introduce. Don't miss it. Tomorrow class, I'll go for it. So I'll stop my class. Tomorrow class, I'll continue the thread-based synchronization I'll explain. Deadlock occurrence concept I'll explain. Don't miss it. Online students, if any doubts are there, you hold on. I'll connect to you within few seconds. So Kaushik, will you cover pandas in this course? Yes, I said I will cover, but it is going to start very soon as an exclusive course for you. You contact once to the admin for the date and time and the conditions for that. Okay, thank you. All the best. Anita. Student Anita. Anita. Student name is Anita.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, in this WebEx, to send the chat or messages to you, it will not come to me, sir.
That I cannot do anything now, ma. You have to take care about that because all messages are coming. Every student message is coming.
That is the problem, sir.
All
So,
student messages I'm getting.
okay, sir.
You see your things at your side.
Okay, sir.
Right. Any students having the subject doubt? So if no subject doubts, I will go for uploading the notes. Thank you, students. All the best. Take care. I'm going to upload the notes for you.